Another day, another positional video. What's going on, y'all? Let's go ahead and hop into my tight end rankings for the 2026 NFL Draft. And I'm going to be honest, I think this tight end class has some good depth, but it's not far down the board. I mean, there's like 10 to like the top 10, I think definitely separate themselves in terms of they are all top 150 players for me, and really all fourth round or better grades. I got a couple guys that I wouldn't mind taking a shot on in the fifth round. Then there is a deep fifth to seventh round, excuse me. Then there's a big drop off. So I'm going to be quite honest. Tight ends 17 through 25. I really don't think there's anything notable to talk about with these guys. A lot of them are undersized, or they aren't good athletes, or they really didn't produce in college, or they're older prospects. So I'm going to save y'all some time and just say that these guys are probably not going to be too relevant. And if I'm wrong, I'll eat my words, but I'm pretty confident I'm not going to be. So let's go ahead and talk about my top 16 that do have draftable grades in terms of, hey, I would take these guys in the maybe the sixth or the seventh round, 17 through 25. I would not draft, maybe UDFA pickups. Starting off with 16, we'll start with Daquan Wright out of Ole Miss. Pretty fun tight end, 6'4, 246 pounds. He is a yak weapon. He's not the best blocker in the world, but 635 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, 7 missed tackles forced isn't bad at all. He's not really a physical player. Like I said, though, I think he could be used in the slot a lot. He lined up in the slot. What is that? 34% of the time. So, yeah, I mean, he's a receiving weapon. So that's what you're getting. Maybe kind of similar to Oronde Gadsden last year, but to me, not as good. And he's not as tall. But yeah, he's not going to make a career for himself as a blocker. I can tell you that. He's not really all that physical at the catch point either. So that kind of brings him down as well. So that's why he falls at 16. 15 and 14, I think, are similar players with Marlon Klein and Josh Cuevas out of Alabama and Michigan. Both relatively solid athletes for the type of player they are, excuse me. Klein a little bit taller, 6'6" compared to 6'3", 4 pounds lighter, better length, tested out better at the combine, in my opinion. Cuevas is definitely a better weapon after the catch with 7 missed tackles forced opposed to 1. He catches the ball more consistently. He's a little bit better in terms of physicality at the catch point too by about 10%. So that's why I give him the nod over Marlon Klein. But I think both these guys are players like I'm maybe taking to be my tight end two, hopefully, likely my three in like the sixth round. Still not players I am super excited about taking. Like I said, that really doesn't open till the top 10, in my opinion, even though I do like Tanner Colesall out of Houston. But DJ Rogers and Joe Royer. I guess I'll save Royer to talk about with Tanner because I do think he's closer to him. Rogers is just in a weird range of himself to where it's like maybe I'd think about taking him in the fifth round, probably also the sixth. He's not a great athlete, but he is a little heavier at nearly 260 pounds. So not too mad at him. He's pretty good after the catch with 10 missed tackles forced, and he is pretty physical at the catch point with nearly a 67% win rate at the catch point. 5% drop rate's not too bad. So yeah, I mean, this is a tight end that kind of does a little bit of everything, in my opinion. That's why I give him the nod over Cuevas and Klein. I think he's better. He's just an overall better receiving option, and he's a similar blocker to those two. So that's why Rogers is really, to me, like considered to be probably still sixth round to me. Like I definitely wouldn't spend a top 150 pick on him, but like in that 180 to 190 range, I would start to think about it. So that's how Rogers will fall to me. Number 12 is going to be Joe Royer out of Cincinnati. Like I said, 6'5", 247 pounds. Got big hands, but short arms, kind of weird. But as long as the hand size is good for receivers, I typically that's good enough for me. I mean, there are certain thresholds you'd like to hit, but at the end of the day, I mean, I guess for tight ends, I probably should start to consider it a little more because they are so valuable for blocking. So short arms is an issue, but I mean, not so much. Most tight ends, like, yeah, you can be a good blocker and stick around in the league, but if you want to be one of those highest paid elite tight ends, you got to be a good receiver. And Joe Royer to me is a pretty good receiver. 0% drop rate. So, like I said, those big hands, I think that shows up in the drop rate and the contested catch rate in terms of even with the short arms, he can go up and get it over you. And his hands are so consistent, like he just doesn't drop the ball. Granted, he didn't have the biggest target share in the world, but still good numbers for the opportunities he did have at Cincinnati. So, yeah, I mean, Joe Royer's a guy I start to open the question like he's right outside the top 150, looking at him probably a top 175 player for me. So, yeah, I mean, Joe Royer is a solid mid late day three prospect, in my opinion. Tanner Colesall out of Houston is very close to like I did a top 150 this year just because this draft class is not that deep on day three. If I did a top 175, Kozal would have made it. If I did a top 160, Kozal would have made it. So it's like he was super close to cracking my top 50 and earning that early mid day three grade for me. And he did earn a early mid day three, just not so much the early, more mid. He's an awesome athlete, not the fastest tight end in the world, but I mean, he's 6'7" and jumps over a 36-inch vertical. I think that does say a lot about him as a player. He doesn't drop the ball really at all. 2.6% drop rate, 74% at the contested catch point. Kozal is a really fun player. He just kind of falls victim to it's a actually pretty solid draft class in terms of looking for tight end twos at the NFL level. I am a little sick, so excuse me for that. Let's go ahead and talk about tight end 9 and 10 together because they are kind of a tier and very close in my rankings, in my opinion, with Oscar Delp out of Georgia being the 10 and Jack Andrews out of Texas being the 9. Um, Delp is someone, in my opinion, that's starting to get overrated a little bit. Like I'd consider taking him in the third round, but like I would like to take him in the fourth. I'm seeing some people that have Oscar Delp in their top three, top five tight end rankings. I'm like, man, like I get it. I do. 6'5", 245, arguably the best athlete not named Kenyon Sadiq in the class at the tight end position. It doesn't show up in the tape though. Like he has not been good and it's all projection. I mean, the 4% 8 drop rate is good, but a 25% contested catch rate is bad. He's a solid blocker, not an elite blocker or anything though. He's not really a weapon after the catch. I mean, it just hasn't shown up enough and consistently enough for me to be in this top 5 boat. The upside's probably top 5, I'll give you that, but, like, the overall consistency of it, it's nowhere near it to me, in my opinion. And when I say, like, he's 10, like, my tight end 3 to 10 are probably 30 spots apart on my big board. So, there's not that big of a difference from being a top 10 guy and a top 3 guy to me in this class. Jack Injuries, I did like a lot. Liked his tape quite a bit before he went to Texas. But he had a solid year. Like he's a good athlete, same build as Oscar Delp. Arm length's a little worse, but it is what it is. He's a better receiver in my opinion. 60% contested catch rate, 0% drop rate is awesome numbers. I think Texas just underutilized him. That was the biggest issue for him. I think that showed up in the film. So it's like not really much you can do about that. I like Jack Injury's game quite a bit. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like Terrence Ferguson last year, who went to the Rams in the second round. Granted, he's not a second round pick to me, probably a third rounder though. But yeah, Jack Injuries is a fine player to take a shot on. And then the next tier really is 5 through 8. And it is really all these guys, I think, primarily make their money as pros because of the blocking upside, but they all have some receiving upside. And that's kind of how the tier goes. To me, they are all great blockers, but as you make your way up, they get better as receivers. Sam Roush is like awesome. 6'6", 267 pounds, awesome athlete for that size. The one problem, he's not there as a receiver at all. Almost a 11% drop rate. He's not really a weapon after the catch. He's not good in traffic. He will make his money day one as a pro, as a blocker. He's one of the best blocking tight ends. If I had to give you a comp, maybe a lesser AJ Barner for the Seahawks is what Sam Roush kind of looks like to me as of now. Dallin Bentley, I think, is a better version of that, but he's also 25 years old. He's the oldest tight end prospect in the class, so you kind of have to weigh that in as well. 6'4", 260, though, way better receiving weapon. Like I said, he's a good blocker, good athlete, great after the catch, 10 missed tackles forced. 0% drop rate, not very good in coverage, but a consistent chain mover that can block. So, regardless of the age, that's a player I would be probably considering heavily in the top 100 to spend a pick on. Eli Raridan, I think, is probably the most untapped potential used tight end in the class. Like, he's 6'6, 245 pounds. He's an awesome blocker. Obviously, Notre Dame was a heavy run first team, but it's like, man, he certainly has the athleticism. He showed glimpses of being good after the catch. He's pretty good at the catch point with 80% contested catch rate. So it's like, I just think this was largely due to being underutilized at Notre Dame. So Eli Raridan is someone who I'm going to be a lot higher on than most. And I'm going to be honest, you could definitely see me flip my tight end 5 and 6 with my 3 and 4 in this video just because, like, the 3 and 4 are pure receiving upsides, like the sky is the limit for them as receivers, but neither are all that good of blockers. So, and but neither are all that consistent. So, like, yeah, that's how close the tight end class is. And those guys are like 3 or 4 spots apart on my big board, so I have no problem flipping them. But like, I'm just not that high on my tight end 3 or 4 at all compared to what a lot of people are on the class. Justin Jolie, however, we'll get into before I make a decision on that because I've done it multiple times in the position rankings. Because I feel like when you say things like in actual video and you're sitting here talking about it, you're like, maybe I do value these players more than the other ones, just because of the safety of them being great blockers rather than the pure upside as a receiver. But Justin Jolie, 6'4", 250. He's really physical. Like I said, he's a good blocker. He's good after the catch. Will never drop the football. Looked great at the Senior Bowl. Consistent chain mover for NC State. NC State. So a guy I am definitely interested in spending a third round pick on if I am a NFL team in terms of getting a good, reliable tight end two at the NFL level. All right, let's talk about 3 and 4. And I know 4 will probably ruffle some feathers because some people have Eli Stowers as high as tight end too, and it's pretty consistent in the rankings. But like, I don't really see it with Stowers. He's a quarterback moved to tight end. He can't really block at all. He's a great athlete. I understand that. Over a 45-inch vertical is insane, but like he's 6'4", 240 pounds. He's fast. Like he was pretty productive for Vanderbilt. He doesn't have the best hands in the world, and neither does Michael Trigg. Trigg had over a 12% drop rate, but Trigg also makes some of the most insane catches you'll ever see. So it's really focus drops that get Trigg. I feel like a lot of the time, 17 missed tackles forced that was also the separator of why I lean Trigg over Stowers, just because like he is a better weapon after the catch, and I feel like he's more durable. Like even though they're similar size, um, with Trig only being 1 pound heavier, I feel like Trig is definitely much stronger, and it shows up in the film when you watch them play, and really it shows up in the numbers as well when you look in terms of the after the catch yardage. It's just difficult for me because, like I said, like my 5 and 6, the upside is really there, and if they continue to develop as receiving tight ends, like, yeah, they're definitely better because they are so much more advanced as blockers. But in a similar sense, like Trigg and Stowers at times are just simply unguardable when you watch the film. And their weapons after the catch with 17 and 9 missed tackles. The hands need to get more consistent for both, but they're both pretty good at the catch point as well. So it's just like, I don't know. I think I'm fine with leaving it like this on my because these are my final rankings, so the decision will be made now. Then I won't touch these rankings again. But yeah, I think with Trigg and Stowers, just with how like valuable receiving tight ends are at the NFL levels, with people like Bowers, like Harold Fannin, like Trey McBride, like Colston Loveland, who can also a lot of those guys can block as well, especially Bowers and Loveland. But like the Fannins and McBrides of the world make their money as receivers and will make their money talking about Harold Fannin. So it's like being a great receiver definitely is valuable, and being able to line up in the slot in today's game is very valuable. So I'll keep Trigg and Stowers at 3 and 4. My tight end two, though, will be Max Clare out of Ohio State. The reason Clare separates himself is I think he's the best of both worlds in terms of talking about the Jolies and Raridans and the Stowers and Trigg. I think he's on a similar level as a receiver, not particularly there yet with Trigon Stowers, but he's so much more advanced as a overall blocker that he definitely gets the nod to me. He's a very solid athlete. He doesn't drop the ball. He's good at the catch point, 66% contested catch rate, only a 4% drop rate. I'd like to see him grow more as a after the catch weapon, but like I think Claire is clear tight end two to me. Like it really does shock me that people have Stowers. I get Stowers as a incredible athlete, but it's like, dare I say, that's about it. Like he still has a ways to go, in my opinion. Like I don't know. I'm not quite there with him. Trigg also like. You know what? Maybe I will give Stowers the nod just because Trigg is a year older. The measurables are better, but, like, Triggs, I wish I put the numbers in, I don't know why I didn't, but, like, Triggs' vertical jump was terrible, but it's like, I'm not really worried about that. He's already like a shorter tight end. Like, he's gonna make his money after the catch. And by the way, they're literally back to back on my big board. So it's not like I have to move Stowers 15 spots up over Trig. It would literally be Stowers over Trig. I'll leave it as is. Like I said, I felt confident in it before. I think I'm just overthinking things, but let's just talk about the tight end one, who is the clear cut tight end one. Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon. He is the only first round pick out at tight end, in my opinion. To me, he's the best athlete at tight end. Also ran a 4.39, which is incredible. 6'3, 241 pounds, 21 years old. So he's 2 years younger than a lot of these other top guys. So it's just like, yeah, someone with that much athleticism that's already this developed as a receiver. Hands have to get a little more consistent with a 10% drop rate, but just such a weapon after the catch, can go up and get the ball, 58% contested catch rate. And like I said, the pure athleticism and the versatility in terms of he can block online, but also I think he's most effective in the slot. Just too valuable, I think, in today's game. So Sadiq to me probably will be a top 20 pick. I'd say his floor is 19 to the Panthers. I honestly think he might go in the top 15 with how much higher tight ends are starting to go in today's NFL. But yeah, man, that's going to be my official tight end rankings. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see y'all tomorrow with the offensive tackle rankings. Peace out.